Hello and welcome. My name is Tim Bayer and I just got first place in the Dreieich Regional in Germany this Sunday. We had a total of 328 players and we played 9 rounds of Swiss. First of all, shout out to best tokens in the game, and then also shout outs specifically to Levin because he basically never played Labrynth before. And there was one event where I had to be the judge and couldn't play my own deck. And I just gave it to him and he performed really good with the deck, giving me really hope that this deck is good. And the deck of my choice is Labrynth. This deck is entirely cooked up by myself with the theory behind it, at least in the main. Obviously there are similar deck lists out there, but I didn't look at anything to build this. So first of all, we start with 3 Ariana. Why wouldn't you play 3 Stratos in the main deck? And then the draw effect actually comes up a lot if you play this deck correctly, giving you a lot of draws. Sometimes drawing a card a turn, like using this like a heat soul when you already have everything searched that you need. One Lovely, as her name suggests, Lovely loves being in my hand, but it's fine because you can always discard it. One Lady, 1 is really just enough. I was a believer for the longest time that you actually need 2, but now I've played 1 for some while and I never needed 2. There may be some games which could have ended earlier if I played 2, but not games that I lost because I didn't play 2, even if this got banished. Then we play the full furniture package, the full 6. These are really amazing. Normally, always, I would say that Stovitorbi is the better one because it gives you a monster on the board, but especially against Snake Eye, actually Chandelier becomes the better one because he doesn't summon himself to the board, which avoids triggering the Snake Eye field spell, which is like really important. I probably would have lost 1 or 2 games if I would have used Ariana to search Stovitorbi instead of Chandelier, and then during the next turn would have used the Stovitorbi and trigger their Snake Eye field spell. Yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind in this meta. Then I play the full 3 copies of Kuklok, and spoiler, I don't play any Arias. Arias just doesn't do anything in this deck. If you see the entire deck, I think you will understand why Arias isn't as good in this deck. Also, Arias doesn't synergize with either the Furnitures or Transaction Wallback, where Clock does, which is really good. And then one additional upside about Clock is that it is a normal summonable fiend, which comes up a lot. Comes up actually a lot. And hard drawing Clock is always fine. That's all for the Labrynth monsters. For non-Labrynth monsters, we have 1 copy of Sharara. I think it is a criminal offense to not play this engine in this deck. I had multiple people with YCS tops or even YCS wins tell me that they believe the Labrynth Unchained board is actually stronger than the Snake Eye board and has an even amount of follow-up. And playing this deck for so long, I kind of have to agree with them. If you resolve the entire Furniture Clock combo into Unchained combo, it's basically an FTK. I think it's really criminal to not play this, because also this gives you immense board breaking capabilities going second. And an immense grind game. Then for the best monsters in my deck, by far, Mudora and Keldo. I will refer to them as shufflers. These are just incredible. These are truly, in combination with a Furniture, the best hand trap in the entire game right now. My opponents had the full nuts hand. They had like Snake Eye Ash, the Abelstar Crossout and Called By, and they just lost to Activate Effect. Because they can't cross out it, because they don't play these. They only can Call By the Furniture, which is fine because this one banishes itself for cost. And it just not only rips apart their combo, but also crumbles their follow-up, which is absolutely amazing. And the best part about these is you can even draw them as 6th card and they'll still be fine. Or you can only draw your furniture 6th card and they still be fine. It's really, really amazing. Then for hand trips, we play 7. We play 3 copies of Nib because still one of the most disgusting things you can do is using Nib and then chaining the furniture to discard the Nib is disrupts the entire Snake Eye strategy of playing through Nib because of Field Spell. Because if you discard this, you don't get a Nib, they don't get a token, so they can't trigger the Snake Eye Field Spell to get like Oak or Flamberge from their scale for free, which is like really insane. Then the best hand trap in this deck, also because it's a trap, is Imperm. I think nothing to explain here why Imperm on Snake Eye Ash is a good card. And then the last hand trap in this deck is Von Veiler. I didn't want to main Ash because Hita just exists. And originally this was one called by, but then we tested a lot of matches and realized that the Von Veiler is just better than called by in almost any scenario, because Veiler can stop the entire turn, whereas called by only stops some of the turn, right? Even if you have called by, they're probably getting to Snake Eye Field Spell, which then you need to play through that. Where if you Veiler Snake Eye Ash, they probably don't get to anything if they don't have an extender. Then the pot of choice for this deck is 3 copies of Prosp. I think it's really important in this format to have one specific card for the situation you're in instead of drawing 2 random cards. And also, people are stupid. People are bad. People don't Ash this card and then you add the perfect non-engine card to your hand that breaks everything they have. Also, a reason why we play Prosp is because we main deck Super Poly. I don't know why, but nobody expects that I main deck Super Poly in Labrynth. It's just amazing. And then a lot of decks try to play around Super Poly, like Voiceless tries to play around Super Poly with something like their Ritual Spell in the Grave, or Snake Eye plays around Super Poly because they say, I still have Princess of Flamberge. You know what no decks play around? Super Poly discard a Shuffler. That's what no deck can play around. I had this multiple times during the tournament, drawing one of both and then getting the other with Prosp. It's just insane. I actually drew Super Poly so much that my friend asked me to keep a Super Poly counter, and I probably resolved more Super Polys than I played games. Then for traps, we play obviously the One Escape. This card is really, really good. Also, copying this card with rollback is like really, really good. Yeah, and I mean, you get it for free. This card is the card you want to draw to least in your deck, because every other brick you can discard and not matter. Well, if you discard this, you can't get it from the deck, so you have to kind of lovely reset this if you ever want access to this again, which kind of sucks. Then for welcomes, we obviously play the 3 big. Nothing to say here, you play 3 big. One change I made is I played only 1 normal welcome. Main reason, you don't need any more. I realized that during siding, every time you go second, you actually side out 1 welcome if you play 2. So I realized that, like, why don't I play just 1 from the start and have a space for another deck? And it was fine. Obviously, sometimes you open hands like both of these, and then if you use the furniture, you can only use the furniture once in the entire duel again. But honestly, it was fine. I didn't lose a game because I only played 1 of this. And then obviously the most anticipated card for this deck for a long time is Rollback. This card is really strong. I didn't drew it that often, but when it came up, it was really good. People just look at their Ash or their Ghost Spell in hand and be like, okay, so my Ash just turned into a Burn spell. Well, because this just plays around every hand trap in existence. It's just great. And copying Imperm with this, or copying Escape with this is absolutely amazing. And then for the most disgusting cards in this deck, both shut down the fire decks really, really hard. And then, like, this is FTK against Voiceless, and this is kind of really insane against Flanderies. Really, I drew Gozen once during the entire tournament, and that was against Voiceless. And I had, like, Rivalry like 8 times, and every time I saw Rivalry in my hand, no matter if I went second or first, I won that game. Yeah, that's the main deck. 40 cards, pretty clean. Now let's get to the extra deck. Tigger. For a card that I never made is Mudcracker. I actually didn't make Mudcracker in 9 rounds. I didn't make this card. It still has to be here, but let it be said that I didn't use this card. Then we have 1 SP. Sometimes I wished I played 2, but then playing 2 does come up like once or twice in the tournament, and you can always have a workaround. Also, while it's on the field, you can always use Big Welcome to summon something from deck and then bounce the SP to your extra deck again, which you will then have it again, which is like really, really good. Also, because you only play 1 Welcome in the main, you're actually not locked into Fiends that often, so this comes up a lot more. Then one card that is maybe cuttable, but at least won like 2 games on its own is Dark, because Dark makes SP out of the most random spots you can imagine, and also makes sometimes the Link 4 you play, or it reborns the opposing Magna Mood, which is also really funny. Then for the Unchained Engine, 2 Yama, because you go into a grind game a lot often, and then if you have the second Yama, you can really outgrind your opponent. Or the second Yama is also what enables you to sometimes resolve Chaos Angels 3 times a turn, which is like really funny. Then 2 copies of Unchained Soul of Rage. You don't really need the second copy. You can play something else here, but I really like having it. Because again, you go Yama, Rage combo, and then you use all your interruptions on your opponent, and they maybe interrupt you. And then during the next turn, you can go into the second Yama, second Rage, and that most of the times just straight up wins. 1 Anguish to link stuff away or to go into if you need it. 1 Abomination, yeah, it just clears boards, really good, especially against Voiceless. This card is really insane. And this is the link 4 you can make with Dark. If you like Dark, reborn the IP, make this, and suddenly this kind of restore by card effects, which also is really funny if you then use Escape on this. 1 copy of Chaos Angel. I know I just said you can resolve Chaos Angel 3 times a turn, but you can with Yama and Mudcracker, theoretically. You really only need 1. 2 didn't really come up, because if you need a second one, you just make Yama with this, and then use the Yama Reborn effect to summon this from the graveyard. Then for Super Poly targets, we played the obvious Mud Dragon. I think nothing to explain here. We played the obvious Garura. Nothing to explain here. We played the Earth Golem Ignister, which really only comes up against Snake Eye Fire King anymore, because the Snake Eye decks, at least I know of, don't actually play Amber well. But, well, this card is really good. You can still go like Appaloosa plus IP into this. And then the most MVP Super Poly target is Starving Venom. If they end on the Synchro board and they get out IP, you just take IP and Savage with this, kill their Appaloosa in battle, and then try to copy the effect of Barone, which they have to negate, and then this triggers and kills the Barone. So this deck, this card outs the entire Synchro board on its own. Also, it's really good to dodge Imperm on Ariana or Lovely. And then the last card, obviously a Typhon. You actually, if you play it correctly, you have infinite Typhons, because you summon this, use effect, kill something, and then during your opponent's turn, you activate a set Big Welcome, bounce this to the extra deck, and then if they can't kill you, they have to play against Typhon again, which is like really, really good. That's it for the extra deck. Then for the side deck, Tigger. We play 4 copies of Bustials, Magna, Double Druid, Baldrake. Baldrake is actually better than Druid in like most cases, which is funny because of Furnitures and the Unchained Engine, you have so many random like darks on the board that like this is always live. This is always live. Yeah. They're primarily against Voiceless, but you can also side them against Poor Snake Eye, because it always takes out the Linko Review from the grave, which is like a really important resource, actually. And it also takes out Witch from the grave, especially against something like the Fire King deck, because they sometimes only play 1 Witch. And if they then activate Wanted and they always have their Witch in graveyard like turn 3, you can chain this, banish the Witch, and then the Wanted doesn't resolve, which is like really good. These are really good. Then we still cite the 3 Ash Blossom, you honestly need something against Branded, and it's just a good generic hand trap. I just really didn't want to main it because Hida exists. Then we play 2 Bell, because Bell is still good hand trap, still good against Fire Kings or Snake Eyes, still good against Voiceless, still good against the Mirror. Yeah, really good. The reason why we don't play 3 Bell is because we play 1 Mourner. Usually, if you main Mourner, you shouldn't keep this in. You shouldn't keep this in against Labrynth. But some people are strange, and they just do. This is technically a timeout win condition, but I didn't draw this during the tournament, so who knows. Then 4 more cards for going first. Crossout and Cold Buy. As you remember, as I said when I showed Unchained Shawara, if we resolve the Labrynth combo into the Unchained combo, you probably win the game. So your entire game plan in game 2 or 3 when you go first is resolve the combo, which is this, and you play basically all red out targets against you. Also, it's really funny against something like Voiceless or Flunderies when you just go cross out on their Prosperity. It's really funny. And then the last card is Labrynth. This is just, well, if you run into something like Flunder, this is good because Flunder, Voiceless, this is good into stun, as long as you can like out a Jaugen. I didn't regret playing this. Yeah. I think overall deck was really clean. I would say the deck is really, really good. The only thing that, little disclaimer, I might have drawn these two a little above average than what you normally should be seeing them. But overall, the deck just worked really nicely together. Shoutouts to my friends who test with me. Shoutouts to Raid and Trade, my local store. And thank you for watching this profile. Bye.